My family story is the history of the 20th century. My grandfather went from Vienna to Russia to the court of the Tsar. They settled in the Crimea. Then came the revolution. My father was in the White Army. They had to run away to France. I was born in Marseille in 1934. At home, we were not allowed to talk during meals, and I hated soup. And every plate of soup I had with tears, because he had his serviette round and he didn't need to say anything. I would eat my soup. Also, he used to take me Sunday morning to walk along the harbour. He was very, very loving. I remember that day particularly because I was in the shop with my father and people start to scream, "War." And soon after, the bombs coming. It was a whole series of things that happened. First, don't forget that France was cut in half. We were free for a while before Paris. Therefore, we already lived with knowledge. Otherwise, my parents spoke, but they spoke in Russian at home. I didn't understand. As soon as the Germans came into Paris, my parents had lots of friends in Paris. They came, lots of them. In fact, everybody was trying to get to Marseille, to escape to Portugal, Spain, or even manage to get a boat to England or to America. But that was terribly difficult. But everybody came to Marseille. No wonder they knew where to collect the Jews. The conditions were starting to become horrible. Food started to become very scarce. The cellar people were selling black market goods.
Innocent victims in a great nation's tragedy. Bread made from American flour, part of a Red Cross mercy cargo, brings relief and rejoicing in a country stripped of everything by its enemies. In some 400 schools like this throughout unoccupied France, 50,000 children are fed daily by American Quakers, soup, to help ease memories of hungry days and nights of horror. An added precaution, vitamins to foster resistance to the starvation the Nazi war machine sentenced them to face. And grateful youngsters they are, while their own leaders collaborate with the conquerors who plunder their country. The children of France send thanks to friends across the sea.
That little girl, it shows you the hairstyle. That's what I had, a little roll on top of my head. It's incredible. So we all looked alike. I could have been that little girl. I remember the day the Germans marched into Marseille. I can still hear the noise of the boots.
Marjorie and I, my wife, were transferred to the American Friends Service Committee office in Marseille. Yes, you had some very bad situations in France, and the relief organizations, the Jewish organizations, obviously first began to pick up information that there was some sort of a deportation action in the making.
But even then, my father was not afraid. He was a proud Frenchman. He always said, "In France, I sleep with my windows open."
Myself and the man who headed the Quaker organization, a man named Noble at that time in Marseille, to Vichy, I guess it was 1942, to try to get at Marshal Pétain in the first instance, although really more Laval. This was in one of the big old hotels in Vichy, Hotel du Parc or something. As we walked down the corridor, we saw Laval along with Ménétral and some others at the far end of the corridor. I wrote at the time that I felt it'd be stretching a point to say that we were allowed to present our plea in any sort of coherent fashion. Well, rather than a discussion, this was really, we listened to a monologue delivered by Laval, which consisted of a tirade against the Jews, particularly the foreign Jews in France. He took the categoric stand that these people were undesirable elements, a source of anti-government propaganda, black market practice, communistic activity, etc., etc. And he then continued on the vein in an interrogatory tone that if the government of the United States was so pro-Semitic, why hadn't we taken these people in instead of merely criticizing the French for not treating them properly? How many Jews did we have anyway? If you like them so much, take them. And I can remember Laval, something that I did not record in here, saying, in order to protect our own French Jews, we're giving them the foreign Jews first. Of course, they got everybody in the end.
It's incredible. I've never seen that. I was a small child. I couldn't have, but I was there. Who gave him the right to decide to kill a whole generation and be praised for it? How happy everybody is. Relaxed. It's incredible. It's amazing. Without the French police, the Germans would never have been able to do it. She told my father to go and hide in the shop. And I remember we were all sitting around the table. And my father came back. He said to her, I couldn't hide because if I wasn't there, they would have taken you and the children. He had given his wedding ring to my oldest brother and his gold watch. And I remember very clearly. He went down the stairs, following. Downstairs were the Germans, but upstairs were the French police. Actually, I realized I never said goodbye to him. It's only lately that I realized I never said goodbye. J'aime la France, c'est mon pays. Mais je n'oublierai jamais que c'est là, les Français, la police française et les collaborateurs, la milice, qui ont arrêté mon père. They took him to Drancy in Paris and then to Sobibor extermination camp in Poland. It was the 24th of January 1943. At 6 o'clock the next morning, cars with an alarm come down and carry whatever you can. The scene was surreal. Some old people with chickens in cages, cats, dogs, whatever they could carry. And we were told to get to assemble in that square where I wanted to be 80 years later. It was the most incredibly happy moment of my life, because I so much wanted to go back and feel triumphant that I was there 80 years later. For me it was incredible, very strong, powerful, not the little girl anymore. I can tell you, I was very powerful. Well, in the square, people, more and more, when they came down, we were pushed one against the other, squashed. What I had carried was my doll. It slipped off my hand and somebody tramped over my doll and squashed it. Actually, I felt I had lost suddenly everything. And it was like my baby was killed and my childhood. When we were told to march to the station, there men and women were separated in the trucks, and from there we were taken to the camp, transit camp Fréjus, not knowing anything, where we were going, what was happening. Fréjus was dreadful. My brother Michel and Léon were put in one of those trains going directly to the camps, and Michel pushed Léon out. I don't know how he did it, but he was amazing. He was right through the wall, incredible. And they joined the French resistance. When we were told by an officer, you may leave the camp if you've got a place to go. So we marched through to show our papers, stamped Jews, and the officer looked at my mother, my little brother and I, and my sister, examined us, turned the paper hide, and said, go. He couldn't imagine that a Jew would have blue eyes and blonde hair. So in his doubt, he let us pass. Incredible but true. We hid in many places. Friends helped us. And by then, we had different papers, no more Jew, different name. And in fact, one day, a woman said to me, what's your name, little girl? Now, my name is my name, but I had forgotten that I had another name. So she slapped me a few times, and then afterwards she said to me, you will not forget that you no more Helene Mandel. yes, I was. Helene is French. Arnaud. I had different papers organized by the French resistance. About a year later, we were living in a village outside Marseille. Someone informed on us. We were betrayed. We had to leave that night. It was always at night. And then the members of the resistance realized we've got to be separated now. My sister joined the resistance. She became an agent and carried letters and arms across France. They took my mother somewhere, and my brother and I were taken to a little village in the Alps, and that's where I spent the rest of the war with my brother. I can't even explain what I felt, but we had been looking the whole afternoon, and when I found it completely different to what I had in my head. When I was there the first time, don't forget, I saw it with childish eyes. Now I saw it quite different, oldish eyes. I was overwhelmed by the excitement to have found that place. Quite incredible. It's a miracle that we found the place. The house itself is dying. To me, first of all, it looked very small. But when I lived there, it looked huge. I remembered there was a cellar, and I said to them, there was a flood in that cellar when I was there. They said, yes, there it is. And I had a feeling that déjà vu. It was like I was meant to find that place. I am, with my little 4-year-old brother, sent with strange people in an area which is the headquarters of the French underground. So I'm now a little mother, but my brother is still a baby. All the farmers knew I was there, but they never told the Germans.
The secret operation is a secret no longer. This is the beginning of the liberation of southern France. The victorious drive that blasted the Nazis from Marseille and Toulon started with the American sky troops in that field below.
But the streets are a no man's land, as French Senegalese mop up Nazis that still resist.
At the end of the war, when Marseille was fighting for its liberation, Michel fought for 3 days and 3 nights in the fountain in the center of Marseille, called Castellane, and he was nicknamed the Madman of Castellane because he never stopped shooting. He was wounded in his arm, but recovered. And there, big American lorries with soldiers, a crowd of women, everybody screaming, the Americans throwing vitamin chocolate and chewing gum, which I found totally disgusting, and I've never had a chewing gum ever again. It was incredible experience.
Troops of General de Gaulle's forces first to enter the city, fighting Frenchmen setting free their own people. After 4 years, the French are giving the orders. Victory parade of the FFI, nicknamed the Marquis. The people of France can well be proud of them. Allied tanks in the streets, Allied flags flying above a free France.
After the liberation, when I joined my family in Marseille, my mother took me every day to the station to see the people that were deported to come down the train. My father, I don't know what happened. To this day, I hate stations and trains. My mother never married again. I can look at all that now and not cry anymore. I think when I started to get them out from the pile, it was terrible for me.
I always knew that Mom had suffered something horrendous. I was very, very close to my mother. But I always knew intrinsically in my heart there had been things that were not right. It's actually going to make me cry. I think I've always known it. And that's the honest truth. I think I've lived with it all my life. I think I've always got it. But did I intellectually get it? Did I have facts and figures? No. But intrinsically, intuitively, viscerally, on a soul level, I've always known it.
Mom never spoke, is my sense of it. So very much as a young child, I was aware something had happened. Clearly, Mom had come from France, and I knew that my grandfather had gone to the concentration camps, but I didn't know Mom's story. I didn't know that Mom was a hidden child. I certainly didn't know the details. I didn't know where my grandfather had been killed. I didn't know how he had been killed. It just wasn't something we talked about. And to be honest, the thing that I always remember was that my dad would say, "Don't upset your mom, don't upset your mom."
The French Republic pays a tribute to you by bestowing upon you the highest distinction of the French Republic, the Legion of Honor.
It feels right, but too late. It should have helped at the time. Okay, better late than never, but on that square there is a monument declaring the French government responsibility, and that is better than nothing. Some countries never did that.
Hat sich in Deutschland eine Umwälzung vollzogen.
I can't forgive the Nazi, but if you say I forgive the Germans, it's another story. Because not all Germans were Nazis. No, I can't forgive the Nazi intellectual. No. I will never forget. Today I can speak to you because I think I'm two people. The child that was and the woman I have become. It did happen, and I have to tell, because there are so many people that step over it and don't believe in it. Our stories, mine and many, many others, are the proof that it did happen. I believed that I survived many things in my life to talk about it. And to talk is not to talk to older people, but to talk to the youth, hoping they, in the future, will stop fighting and wars. Maybe it will happen, I hope. But I believe in it. I believe so strongly that I will continue till the end.